We don't care that our families hate us because of it.
Oh,
my baby is 70 pounds and furry. He's
very cool.
Asleep at the moment. This is
I got several of those running around. Do you think Will Hackler cares when his family's upset that he goes down in the basement and drinks 12 beers on a Thursday night? I don't think so. He's a baller. I'll tell you the headline, everybody. I owe you an apology, and a sincere one. I put this out on the internet, and I'm getting a little nervous just thinking about it right now, but I want to look deep into all your eyes and give you a formal apologies. My PR person helped me write this, and ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a heavy heart and a profound sense of regret. It is with the utmost sincerity that I offer my deepest apologies to the retirement plan industry and the dedicated listeners of the podcast, Retireholics. I understand the disappointment and frustration that you all must feel. Sometimes I get in trouble on the show, Rosalyn. I want to make it unequivocally clear that there are no excuses for my oversight. I take full responsibility for the lapse in my duties. My failure to deliver on my commitment to you all was not only unprofessional, but also disrespectful to the trust you have placed in me. I deeply regret any inconvenience, disappointment, or frustration that my actions may have caused. To the listeners of Retireholics, you people, I'm deeply sorry for letting you down. Your support and trust mean the world to me, and I will do everything in my power to regain your confidence. To the retirement plan industry, I extend my sincerest apologies for any disruption or inconvenience my actions may have caused. I understand the seriousness of the work that you do, and I'm committed to being more diligent and responsible in my future endeavors. In conclusion, I humbly ask for your forgiveness and understanding. It is true, I failed to have a wheel of ice on the previous Retireholics.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
I am to lead up, man.
I am fully aware of the gravity of my oversight, and I'm committed to rectifying the situation and making amends. The amends will be we will spin the wheel today, and we will drink. The loser will drink 2 Smirnoff ices.
No, spin the wheel twice.
Oh yeah.
And I hope
twice.
that in time I can regain your trust. Please accept my heartfelt apologies. Brandon, spin the wheel of ice unless he was drinking 2 of those.
The wheel of ice.
It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. I just know.
I'm locked out of the house. My options are limited.
Oh!
Fixed. That is fixed.
It's not fixed.
That's some bullshit, B.
You're gonna become the new Chad. Justin, this comes at an unfortunate time. I wanted you to intro the guest. Did you have something prepared?
I do, but figure it out yourself, man.
Well,
I think we can. Oh my God!
Wow,
that's a talent I didn't know he had.
Clearly, the wheel knows who needed to do this. My gosh,
I can't see it. Is he actually drinking?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
You know,
we need like 30 minutes.
Justin,
that was so good. I think we'll play that at your funeral. Like that's how good that was.
Everybody out there, this is that time in the show when Justin is going to introduce our guest, and you're going to rate Justin on a 0 to 10. So chat bar, pay attention and give us your scores. Justin, take it away.
I don't feel so good.
I've never been so proud of you, Justin.
All right. In case you haven't seen your LinkedIn feed this week, this chick is clearly loved by her peers. It's no surprise she's drawing a bigger crowd tonight than Hackler could ever dream of. She's a fellow YouTuber. Be sure to check out her channel, Your Wealth Guidance. She knows our world left, right, and center, and is here to tell us just exactly where we're sucking ass. She's a member of the crew and senior business development manager for a large commercial bank. So secretive. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Rosalyn Brown.
Yay.
Hey, y'all.
Webby. Not doing the wheel of ice is not some sort of joke. That deserves a real public apology. Let's talk about a headline from the Plan Sponsor magazine. The title of the article is I'll drink for this, is the UAW demand for return of pensions a realistic ask. Let me drink. So this makes news. I'm sure you guys are aware of this. This is the United Auto Workers. I'm pretty sure I'm getting that right. The deal there, and they're in this strike right now. But what I want to focus on is not all their other demands, although I thought it was interesting that retiree healthcare is kind of cool, and maybe we could talk about that. But what they really want back is their defined benefit plan. They had a defined benefit plan with the company back in 2007. It was the 2008 global financial crisis where General Motors and Chrysler went bankrupt, if you remember that. And the union at the time agreed to the shutdown of the defined benefit plan. What do they have instead of the defined benefit plan? Well, we all know that's our gig. They replace it with a 401k profit sharing plan. They've tried this before. When I say they, I mean the union. In 2019, they were trying to get the pension plan back. Those negotiations failed after a 40-day strike. Rosalyn, I'll go back to you. You know, as our guest, an employee, or I guess I should say, no, an employee or an organized group of employees, is it cool? Is it okay for them to say, hey, I demand the old days of a defined benefit plan and a pension plan. Screw this 401k thing. I want you to cover me in retirement. Does that seem like an outlandish request to you?
It is absolutely a request that as an employee you can make. Yes. Is it a financial request that might actually be awarded? Probably not. And the problem is we're not in the same industry that we were. Detroit isn't, the king of all automakers anymore, unfortunately. And even if you look at the strike today, it's not having the same impact that it would have had 50 years ago. I mean, they're like, oh, well, we'll just continue to ship these cars from somewhere else. And so I think until especially the cars are more competitive. I mean, you talked about buying a new car that is definitely not a UAW type car. And if we look at
Bring her up. We don't explain the rules anymore, Rosalyn, but if you say any acronym or initialism, you must drink from your penalty drink. What do you got there?
This, I was going to make an espresso martini, but I am team pumpkin spice. And so I put a little pumpkin spice in here too.
Wow, kudos.
And you can see my little coffee beans in
floating
there.
in the top. Floating in the top. I'm familiar
might be
with
the
that.
fanciest drink we've seen on here before.
Rosalyn, you just
Hey,
crushed
JD, I
that.
demand a DB, buddy. Bring it back.
What's that?
I demand a DB. Bring it back. Fuck.
Oh,
That's two.
That's
You said it
Rosalyn,
twice.
you just crushed out with a little like extra insights there that were very true. Like the automobile industry has changed. I'll read you a quote from someone at the car companies. I think this is a real sticking point, speaking to the defined benefit plan. Oh, sorry, the restoration of the defined benefit plan and the restoration of the retiree health care, says this person, quote, these are non-starters from the company's standpoint. I think if the union insists on getting those things, they're going to be in for a long strike. It goes on to say that the automakers have released statements that agreeing to the pension restoration would likely bankrupt the companies, simply saying, look, we don't have the financial ability to do this, which I think is kind of interesting. Like, Chad, to you, you're a math guy, you're a nerdy guy. So they had the ability financially to do this kind of stuff back in pre-2007, or I guess I should even say like in the 80s and the 90s. And I don't just mean the automakers, I just mean companies in general. But today it just would be too expensive. I mean, what does that say about the comparison of a defined benefit plan to a 401k?
That's where my mind originally went, which was what's the difference in dollars going in currently to their 401k profit sharing plan versus what the obligation would be for a small pension plan obligation. I can't imagine it's too different. I think the issue where most get themselves in trouble with, especially in the large pension space, is they don't appropriately manage the benefit. They don't manage the investments well. They get used to good flush years where they're not making deposits and contributions because the market's covering their nut needed to meet the benefit requirement. Then all of a sudden you have a 2008 where you've got to start putting in your tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars that they didn't budget for because they haven't made those contributions in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So as I read that article, I was curious what the actual difference is, but I think it's the fear of the obligation that they're scared of, not the dollar amount going into the requirement.
That's a great
people
point.
are living longer too. Like if people would just, expire earlier, it would
That was
make the
We
calculation.
heard
a
that
bit
from
easier.
Dude said that in the comments there is that, the people are living a lot longer, which that has to factor in. I mean, that's going to increase the cost substantially. Yeah. So
it was super interesting for me too to see that they, as they're looking at other benefits and they're talking about kickouts to the retirees, they're still talking about increasing the benefit formulas to people who are already retired receiving benefits.
yeah,
Like
they said they're giving them. They said the
that's a
average
different
was.
world.
They said the average of those pre-2007 United Auto Workers was they were getting like on average 18,000 a year in that pension plan, and they want more for their people. I mean, we can move on from this. I can't blame workers, whether they're part of a union or not part of a union, for asking their employer for benefits and pay that they think is reasonable. I don't think anyone thinks that that's not okay. It just, where push comes to shove is does it make financial sense? Can the company actually do it? And when a company also, I'll jump on the side of the union workers here. When a company comes back and says, look, we're not going to be able to financially pull this off, it would bankrupt us. Sometimes, this is not usually my style, Rosalyn, but I'll jump on the side of the little guy. Sometimes I think it's okay, well, how much are you paying your executives, and what kind of private jets are they flying in? And when you talk about,
let's talk about that, JD.
Yeah, let's have that conversation, JD.
Please fill us in, buddy.
How much is your jet?
so that could be a problem. But I did think that it was interesting to hear a strike bring pension plan back into the mix, and obviously that's our industry, so that's why I brought it up. Let's go to a second headline. Shapiro explains the National Financial Partners new pooled employer plan. This is on the how do we refer to this site? The 401kwire.com. It's the Illuminati of 401k bigwigs. Only the special people get access to this site, meaning the people that pay the fee to do it. But I've noticed lately, if 401k Wire is listening, and I know they do from time to time, y'all motherfuckers are obsessed with PEPs. I'll drink for that. But Jesus Christ, every other headline you have is about pooled employer plans, and I think you guys should diversify a bit. Just my advice to you guys. I'm not a journalist, but what I know. This one, however, is our buddies at Retirement Plan Advisory Group, although I know National Financial Partners, Retirement Plan Advisory Group, Vince Giovanni, I forget his last name. He's an icon of the industry. I should get it right. Giovanazzo. And the whole group, I'm not trying to throw shade at them. I'm very, I think they crush it. I think they've done a great job. I think they're huge in our industry. But this is their pooled employer plan. And here's my question to you. It kind of centers around this sentence in this article. And I'll put this to you, Rosalyn. National Financial Partners in this pooled employer plan is acting as the 338 investment fiduciary. Makes sense to me. In this pooled employer plan that they're calling, by the way, this is the title of it, your 401k retirement plan PEP. I'll drink. That's the name. By the way, cool and creative marketing. I like that they threw 401k into the pooled employer plan name. Good for them. Smart marketing. I like that. Anyways, let me continue. While the standard will serve as the pooled plan provider, the 402A fiduciary, plan administrator, the 316 fiduciary, get this, the record keeper. I'm not done yet, people. I'm not done. And the third party administrator. Holy fuck. Are you all okay with this self-serving bullshit? So my question to you, Rosalyn, is, do you consider this how much time first do you spend thinking about pooled employer plans? And then two, if you do at all, how do you feel about one company being so many roles in a pooled employer plan?
You know, one of the things I think about is every now and then there is something that is like flashy and, you know, maybe glittery in the industry.
I think I'm going to love your answer here. Continue on that.
But it ends up being a bit of a dud. So when you think about, like, as there are updates and changes and plan documents and disclosures, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to change the game. And it's like, oh, I don't even remember that a few years from now. And so as much as it has been hyped, and I think it's a great solution for small employers, but there was a solution that was, you know, kind of there anyway. But now it's just like, hey, we're going to zhuzh this up and you know, make it seem like we're taking on all this fiduciary liability and, you know, add another layer. It's like, you know, when you call the cable company and they're like, and if you want this channel and this channel and this channel too, and all of a sudden you're paying almost the same amount as if you had your own plan.
Or you're probably paying more, Rosalyn, but I digress. Chad, do you have an issue? And you don't need to jump on my bandwagon here, but are we telling plan sponsors, employers that with these pooled employer plans, they're getting this kind of level of fiduciary oversight and that we're relieving them of this responsibility to look over all these things? Then how does the standard look over itself? How does the standard be the pooled plan provider and then look over, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and I do have an issue with it. And for years, we've been trying to get away from all the proprietary side of our space that existed a decade plus ago. And here we are going back to saying, we're gonna do it all. One shop's gonna do it all. Everything's under it. Fees are good. We're doing a great job. Don't worry about it. We're watching ourselves. No big deal. Fox and Hen House. Yeah, I do have an issue with it. And I think that if you, in NFP side of things, if your thought is I'm going to create this and I'm going to do so in a way in which one party is covering everything, I'm just the 338. I kind of have some issue with them making that decision for that being their offering and telling their advisors that this is what you should be doing in this space.
Can I go one more layer with this? And this is, by the way, I'm not picking on National Financial Partners or Retirement Plan Advisory Group or FlexPath in any way.
You are picking on Standard because this is like the third one.
Yeah, fair enough. The gloves are off. The gloves are off with Standard. I'm totally picking on the Standard. That's true. But here's my secondary issue with this. It goes deeper than this. This is a partnership between National Financial Partners and the Standard. So they're literally, the reason why the Standard wants to work with National Financial Partners is because their wings spread wide across the country. They have influence on their own advisors to put product in front of them and their advisors to sell this said product. So do you really think that the Standard as a pooled plan provider is somehow going to oversee even the 338 component of this thing and then say to NFP, I'll drink because I want to, hey, appreciate you doing this deal with us, National Financial Partners, but we're going to replace you with Cap Trust because they have a better No, that's never going to happen. Bro, I think this is all bullshit. And no offense, they just invited me up to their conference and then Dana Point, here I am talking shit. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I respect what you're doing. And this is not specific to just them. This is kind of a trend that's happening in pooled employer plans all across the country. It's a very common thread. And so I'm definitely not isolating them on this. What's going down?
Oh no, Hackler's
Here's
just
the next
saying, cue up the
apology.
next apology. Yeah.
Someday I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to have to give a real apology on this show. That's going to happen for sure. Let's revisit an old friend of ours. Remember Ron Sears, the old dude
Yeah.
out of San Clemente who does so much
Yep.
research on the target date
The
funds.
old dude. That's not okay.
Hey, I'll say that out of respect. I think he's okay with that. He literally has a podcast called like Boomers or something. So our boy Ron Sears is pointing out that target date funds in 2008, were crushed. They lost 30%. When I say they, that's the 2010 funds, the ones that were close to retirement, if you will, or that retirement date. And that if a 2008 type of crash, if it happened today, the destruction would be 17 times worse. And we can kind of get into those numbers. He makes the comparison between.
Please explain those numbers.
Yeah, I will. He makes the comparison.
I didn't read the article, JD. I'm just going to say it. So
I read
please
it.
tell me what does it say?
I read this one because I knew you wouldn't, Roby, so I read it for you.
You sent it to us 35 minutes ago. Okay.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. Right.
He makes a comparison between World War II nukes and the nuclear power today. And by the way, the difference between those two is only 5 times, and this one is 7 times. By the way, quick side note: anyone out there see Oppenheimer? Anyone in the chat bar see Oppenheimer? I thought it was pretty good. Chad has seen it. Yes, Danielle's seen it. The loss, if we had a crash like 2008 today, would be more than $1 trillion. Back in 2008, the loss was 60 billion. Okay, so that's a big deal. Between 60 billion and 1 trillion. Why is that? There's 7 times the amount of people in target date funds today than there was in 2008. When I read that made perfect sense to me. Like, we all know, we work in this industry, like target date funds have been exploding over the last 2 decades. So that's
Good
37.
Pun. Good pun.
That's 30. Sorry. That's 37 million people. And the boomers are especially vulnerable right now, even more so than they were in 2008, just based on their kind of timeline evolution of where they stand, who we define as a boomer. So here's Ron's point. Safe target date funds, ones that would protect these boomers, are not popular in the marketplace. And his opinion is they're not popular because they're not as profitable for those mutual fund families as more aggressive target date funds. And I want to be clear, this is not a comparison of when we had Ron on this show and we were talking about 2002 and kind of the correlation between bonds and fixed income and equities and how target date funds kind of got hammered because both those things fell at the same time. This was not the story in 2008, right? It was just a classic market crash. And the reason why the 2010 target date funds didn't go well is because they had equity exposure and the markets were down. Lastly, sorry, I'm just setting the table for you all to have a conversation. I'll shut up. Ron says that the industry is 85% risky. I say industry. What does that mean? Target date funds and target date funds close to retirement are 85% risky. I don't totally agree with him because he groups bonds and fixed income in with equities in that proportion because he thinks we should find alternatives to bonds that are safer to put in target date funds. But let's put that aside for a second. From an equity standpoint, these target date funds have about 50 to 55% risky, meaning stocks and equities. So Rosalyn, you counsel people, you sit down with them. I'm sure some of them are older and closer to retirement, or even just empathize with the ones all across the country. Are these target date funds with 50 to 60% equity? I just embellished 50 to 55% equities. Are they a concern for these people if we have a crash, which inevitably we'll have one someday?
Well, my favorite old person, my mom. Unfortunately, this almost goes back to the first article we talked about, the UAW, like why they want a defined benefit plan. Oh, pumpkin spice.
That was awesome.
But they want a defined benefit plan is because putting together a portfolio sucks. Like, Nobody wants to
But
do it.
where's my-
Nobody wants to keep going to do it. Nobody wants
Sure.
to check it again. They're tired of getting these postcards in the mail. They're not calling to do the one-on-ones. Like, they're just not. And I've been in this industry for almost 2 decades at this point, and my mom took investment advice from her coworker. And
Gotcha.
she doesn't work for a financial institution.
Yeah.
And so in reality, there has to be something that someone does it
Yeah.
for them. And the target date fund was the easiest do it for me, because what was doing before, I mean, you would look
No,
at
I love-
somebody and they're all in cash, or, you know,
Well,
they're in
well, hold
one
on, wait,
fund,
wait.
or
We
all
do-
10
we-
of them or whatever.
We have to go back slightly. Did this coworker lead your mom on the right path, or did it end up shooting her in the foot?
Absolutely not.
I'm just curious.
Hey,
My mom wanted to know why she got a bill in the mail from the IRS, because she didn't understand if she took money out. Pay it.
Internal Revenue Service.
IRS.
No.
Katie, we have
Oh, damn, drink twice. Chad.
we have I feel like we have two separate discussions.
Mhm.
One about the validity of a target date fund,
Which
which
I
we
agree
all
is
know,
good.
and what the chat is all saying is if we didn't have them and we left people up to building their own portfolio, things would be shitty.
That's not
all
really
agreed
Ron's
on.
argument, is it, Chad? That's not Ron's
No,
argument.
it's not. It's about the exposure when we get to retirement, and is the target date the right solution as you approach that age?
But isn't
And we've
that the
had this-
conversation of to versus through? Like that whole,
I-
do you die
I wrote that in the chat,
day
like,
after retirement?
As an advisor, then, do you put a two and a three
Inside you
strategy
do.
in the core menu and educate people as they approach the target date of their retirement that they should be switching from the through strategy to the two strategy? I think what I wanted to say and circle back to is we've chatted week after week after week now about these guaranteed income solutions on the back end of people's accumulation phases. I think that Ron is supporting that story, whether he realizes it or not, more than he ever has, is that people have accrued this benefit now, and they need some sort of guarantee when they get there that their money will continue to last. And to Daniela's point, have some growth opportunity to hedge inflation, to keep up with inflation, we'll say. And so is the target date fund right in a growth phase? I think so. Is a target date fund right in a decumulation phase? I don't think so.
And I want to be clear, we're seeing more and more of this comments in the chat bar. I don't think Ron Sears is against target date funds. Well, I know he's not, because he's got his own. That's why he's putting out these types of articles. He's got a different type of target date fund. And nor am I against, I've talked a lot of shit tonight. I'm not against target date funds. I totally agree with Rosalyn's comments. Like, people don't want to build their own portfolios. Target date funds have been amazing, but that doesn't mean that as an industry, we should just stay status quo with the way that they're built. And I think what Ron's also saying is a lot of these large mutual fund families are driven by the almighty dollar. And it's up to us as an industry to pressure them to make changes to their methodology that is more in line with our clients and our customers. And so things change. You know, it's been 20 years since target date funds have really, am I getting that right? Have hit the market, and they can improve. And to Chad's point, maybe it's guaranteed income. I don't know, because there's fees and things associated with that I'm not so certain about. But the big risk, Rosalyn, I loved how you jumped back quickly earlier and you said, but hey, two verse through, and people don't die at age 67. You know, we still have to invest their money. And I know you know this, the next big argument is the sequence of returns risk, right? Everyone's worried about this kind of window when you're right there before it or right there after it, and how you might approach that window. People like Michael Kitces and really like smart people out there. And so that's all I'm saying to the industry out loud through this beer drinking podcast right now is let's push for some novel ideas, like some new things in target date funds. Rosalyn, you look like you have a thought. Sorry.
The only thing is, you know, when we talk about guaranteed income, people start to think annuity, and people are like, either they've had it, they've been burned by it, you know, and it's hard. It's going to be hard to get away from when you say guaranteed income, people automatically go back to
When you
annuity.
say
And it's-
people, do you think the consumer, your clients, or financial advisors, or both?
the clients. I think financial advisors love an annuity. I mean, what pays better than an annuity?
Oh.
Come on.
The lottery.
It's for everybody. You get one, you get one,
I
but-
hear you.
but plenty of clients, if they touched it, felt it, their mom, dad, cousin, brother, sister, it's hard to, I mean, the marketing folks are gonna have to get some work in. Like,
Oh, they're
they're
working hard on it.
guaranteed income
they are.
is not catchy enough because people are like, is that an annuity?
I can't.
Do you
I
see,
can't leave
Chad,
this
do you see
behind.
why Rosalyn's on this show?
Yeah, I do, and I can't leave this behind because I can't remember the guest. We gave them a bunch of shit a few months ago when they talked about re-enrollment as you reach this window that we're talking about, JD. And I thought, in my mind was like, oh, I love it. I love it. If people default into a target date fund, if they default to a managed account, how awesome is it that we would re-enroll them into something that's more appropriate for the stage of life that they're in at that stage? If we all are under the assumption that target date funds are not it, then I think that they have a chance to opt out, but I think they need a nudge. They need to be encouraged to go to what we believe is right for them, because the average worker has no clue. Why do you think we don't let them build a portfolio? Because we know they're going to fail at it.
Here's where I push back on that. And people have heard me say this on the show. Like, I think if you're in the guaranteed income business right now, Rosalyn, if you're one of those companies that has built something, wants to get it out there, your only real option, kind of to your point earlier of like, people will see this as an annuity and they'll want to steer clear of it, both, the clients. And so your only option is to create what Chad is talking about, which is like a default where, look, in a 401k, and they're pushing really hard for this. And anyone could put on a tinfoil hat. Anyone could put on a tinfoil hat and kind of get freaked out about that. But I do, and I don't trust the industry enough. And when I say industry, I mean the record keepers and the investment providers, to give them that kind of leeway to start defaulting people into guaranteed structures that a smart person's got to dig into the revenue and how that works. Anyways, I just think that's a little sketchy, but so keep your eyes out.
I think Schlechter would love that.
No, did she freeze on us? Rosalyn, say that again.
Oh, I was
I
going to
heard
say, I
There you
think,
go.
what's his name out of St. Louis? What is it? Schlechter.
Schlichter,
He would love
Oh,
that.
the boogeyman.
the boogeyman.
Yeah.
That's
He
a
would love
great
that.
point. Not only is he going to love that, Rosalyn, he's going to love those pooled employer plans we talked about earlier and all that conflict of interest. Oh my
He's
God.
probably in the office right now, like drawing up paperwork.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Nevin still here, or was he here? I thought I saw him earlier.
Nah, he's gone.
He bailed. Schlichter's moving on to like group health stuff or something. I feel like
Really?
someone in the chat bar back me up on that. He's kind of he's resetting his sights
He
on
needs
some
a
other
new
stuff.
challenge. He said
Yeah.
this is too easy.
I wouldn't say he crushed it in our space. I'd love to do
He crushed it for his practice.
Did he?
He made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Did he? Okay. I forgot the whole math on that. I mean, he spent a decade or more trying to do it. That costs a lot of money. But okay, let's play a game, Rosalyn. Let's play a game. You ready to play a game?
Sure.
This is the totally original, was never copied another game. I thought of it all on my own. It's the Nope or Dope game.
Okay.
Mark your face. I love it, buddy.
Every time.
Okay, Rosalyn, this is going to go to you first, and it's pretty simple. You're going to let me know, is this dope or are you nope? Thumbs up or thumbs down about this. Some people out there might say lame or game. That's something I might come out with too, a version of this game. And then give us a little description of why, especially you. So this happens in my family. I go into the refrigerator, or maybe it's even like peanut butter in the cabinet, Ooh, we should talk about freezing or refrigerating your peanut butter, but that's for another show. Okay, so I grab a jar. I open up the jar. It has been opened by one of my family members before, but you know how jars have that little protective kind of peel back layer on the top? I'm kind of of the school of thought, like you peel it back and then you put it in the trash and then you put the lid back on the top. But apparently there's a lot of people out there that like to kind of keep that layer happening inside there. Where do you fall in this camp?
I actually think it's kind of dope, unless I need to microwave it, because sometimes at the end of the peanut butter, you might have to microwave it to get the last little bit at the bottom.
What?
Or if you're gonna mix it into yogurt or pour it over ice cream or something like that, like you need to microwave it a little bit. So you got to get that part off. But yeah, other than that, keep the freshness. And I need to know that people are messing with my stuff, because my food is my food. I don't care who else is in the house. Like,
you're for it. Chad, you agree with her on this?
No, not at all. Like the times that the flap falls down on your hand and hits the back of your hand when you're trying to get into the jar.
Oh my God.
It's terrible. It's terrible. No, throw it away. But Rosalyn, I can't skip past warming the peanut butter for ice cream.
Brilliant.
Or
oh my God,
yogurt.
It's amazing. Yeah. So you got to take the whole thing off, because it'll
right
spark a little bit if you don't when you put it in the microwave.
That's all.
Oh, I'm so into this. I can't
Interesting.
wait to try it tonight.
Justin, this must upset you, because here, I'll give you an extra detail. Usually when you peel back that little layer, it doesn't come clean in one thing. Like you get little sides that tear off and things. Like it's just not a very OCD, I'll drink thing.
Yep.
So Justin, how do you feel
me.
about this? Thumbs up?
I
or
just take a
thumbs
knife and cut around it if that starts happening. It's getting clean. But yeah, no, that thing goes in the trash. I'm just more focused on the melting of the peanut butter. My favorite ice cream is chocolate peanut butter, with the hardened peanut butter swirls inside, and that's
Get a
just
little extra.
that
Yeah.
is great.
All right, Roby, where does your household stand on this?
I'm just making sure I didn't hear what I thought I heard. Did you say you keep your peanut butter in the fridge?
Not me. No,
No,
not me.
I don't.
I'm a room
Oh.
temperature.
Okay, I was just
That was
making sure,
JD.
because
He had
we were
awareness.
I thought maybe that was a thing.
whole nother problem if that was
Yeah,
the case.
okay.
Yeah,
No, I have
rip,
good stuff.
rip the thing off. No, it's easy.
Rip it off.
I don't know what are we talking about.
Okay. All right, Rosalyn. Nope or dope number 2. You're shopping at your local grocery store, and you got a cart full of stuff, like you're loading up for everything you need back at your house, but you're fucking thirsty, you're thirsty. And so you grab that, I don't know, maybe it's an iced tea off the shelf, or it's a water bottle, or who knows what, and you're going to pay for it. And you can easily put the cap back on it. It's a screw-on cap, but you have not paid for it yet, because you're going to continue to shop. But you're going to crack that baby and drink it while you shop. Like, is this nope or dope? Are you okay with this? Or is this theft?
No, hell no. Like, no. I keep a water bottle with me at all times. I have my whipping water mug.
Ooh,
Oh, hey,
That counts.
that
Yes.
counts. We
Get that pumpkin
inspire,
spice.
promote, network. whatever the fuck it
yes.
stands for. All right, you got to drink for that.
So keep you some water with you and drink what you've paid for. Until you've paid for it, it is not yours.
Wow.
Are you
Do
gonna
agree,
pay
Chad?
for it? Yeah, you're gonna pay
Yeah.
for it.
Going to pay for it, that's not enough.
I was gonna pay for it. Chad, how do they feel
Hey,
about this in
good
Missouri?
future.
I'm 100% in. At the store like a week ago, I hadn't had lunch yet, so I opened up the top of the chewy Chips Ahoy, and I ate cookies while I walked around.
Damn,
the
that's
store
next
shop.
level. That's next
Yeah.
level, Chad.
I mean, I'm gonna buy it. It's like pumping my gas, right? I slide my credit card, but it doesn't mean that I've paid for it yet.
Chad, you've opened my eyes. You've
It's not the
inspired
same
me.
thing.
You
Next
don't
time, I'm
get
just
gas
gonna
before you
unwrap
pay
that
for it.
sandwich and start eating it down the aisle. Justin,
Sometimes
what do
you
you
need
do
to.
I'm
here?
gonna start doing that with beer.
Hey, when you go to the
Where have we been this whole
restaurant,
time,
eat
guys? I
and
mean,
then pay? When
what?
you go to a bar, do you not open a tab, drink your beers, and then close it out later and pay?
But they
Roby,
have my money. They have my
You
money.
gotta
ahead
pay
of time.
for it.
Roby, I want you to be honest with everybody. Not are you okay with this? Have you ever done it?
No, I have never done it, never will do it. I think if you do it, you are a shameful person.
Oh,
I think that Oh yeah,
Shameful?
rub your
Oh,
hands
come on.
together, buddy.
You're gonna
I'm
pay
gonna
for
do this
Despicable.
every time we go to
Despicable.
Oh,
Hey,
God.
listen to me. Listen to me.
Let's hear it.
The
Let's
only
hear your
time that that's
logical remark.
reasonable, go to Costco and get samples. All right, if you're
Oh,
really that
Jesus.
hungry or thirsty.
People don't know this out there. You think Robe Guy's this rebel? He goes scootering in towns and gets black eyes and wears a robe on stage, but he's actually very conservative. Like he's very, very.
I am scared to death of doing anything wrong to get in trouble. So no, I would never open something before I pay for it, because I feel as if the minute I turn that aisle number 3, there's going to be police there. I'm going to get arrested.
Okay, well done.
But you're not gonna.
We'll end it with
Yeah.
that. I had a
Yeah.
couple that are duds, but I want to get on to some other stuff. So that was another edition of Nope or Dope. Rosalyn, thank you for your insights on that. I titled this next topic, Rosalyn's World. I don't know why, but let me try to explain why. I was at a conference, to everyone out there listening, with Rosalyn. She was sitting a few rows behind me, and some subject matter came up, and I don't know if she stood up or
This
just
the one you
raised
got
her
kicked out
voice.
of?
Sorry, what?
Was this the one you got kicked out of?
No, I didn't get kicked out of
Okay.
this one. And we were just talking about general retirement plan stuff, and she got up and she started in on this very passionate, kind of level-headed, logical, smart take on the retirement plan industry as a whole, and how we, for lack of a better term, market to the consumers, right? Like teach them, hey, you need to save more, you need to put this much percent of your pay away, you need to put this much, you need to have this much money by the time you reach retirement so you could live this quote unquote retirement idea of 2 senior citizens walking on the beach and sailing away to Paris, France, or whatever it is that they do. And she passionately described a different methodology. And I think Rosalyn, one that focused more on people's current life and their current day and next week and next month, and not 20 years from now. Because I think you said, like, and as someone who's been in this industry a long time, you said something like, they don't care about what's going to happen 20 years or 30 years or 40 years from now. They care about what's happening now. And I was kind of like, wow, that was so simple, but so true. And I immediately was thinking to myself, like, this chick has to be on Retireholics, like the way you looked at it from a different headspace. So anyways, I'd like to talk a bit about that, and then we'll get into kind of some other stuff. But can you share with everyone your day-to-day job and how you teach people to how they should look at finance as opposed to the way our industry kind of does it? Is that a fair question?
Well, in our industry, not for nothing, is a bit boring. And it's a bit disconnected. Like, people who want to talk about retirement is typically because it's within arm's reach. Like, I'm about to retire next year. Can you tell me if I have enough? Like, they probably don't have enough, but like, now I'm ready to talk. And my niece, so I always say I have like tons of stories. And my family is huge and crazy, so they give me great material. So my niece says, she is working. She is 19. She's working at a sandwich shop. So thank God she had a job. And she is making, good enough money working at the sandwich shop. And she says, I've been saving. I don't know what I'm saving for. And I'm like, well, darling, what would you like to do? And she's like, I don't know. And I said, well, have you started saving for retirement? Once again, she's 19. Why? Why now? Why? She doesn't want to buy a house. She doesn't need to buy a car, like none of these things. She's in college, all those things. And so really there was no motivation for her to start saving for retirement. And so I changed it up. I said, why don't you save for a day that you just want to take some time off work?
Right.
That could be a month, a year. It could be the rest of your life. And
I
she was
almost
like,
did a headline today. It was on Foreign Case Specialist magazine. It was how Taylor Swift and Beyonce concerts are killing it in the billions of dollars because people are coming out in droves to these concerts. And so like something like that, like, oh, I want to go to a concert in the summer and get a nice seat, like save for that.
And it's freedom. At the end of the day, money is freedom. People who have money get the freedom to say crazy stuff. They get the freedom to wear weird stuff. They get the freedom to name their kids apple and orange and pear. And, they get a chance. Those are the people that are out day drinking. Those are the people that are at games. Those are the people that have the freedom to get up and go. And the less money you have, the less freedom that you have. And so I'm always like, well, girl, what you want to do? Like, what's important to you?
I don't know. There are a lot of people who don't have money that seem to be very free. I will say that much.
Are they? But
they're running around here everywhere. I'm just saying.
Well, so I'll tell you, I actually used to volunteer for an organization for people in transition. A lot of times they were leaving prison. And so they were reintroduced to the workforce and so forth. And I would be their budget mentor. And so as we're looking at the way that people manage money, they're in this moment. And depending on the life experiences that you've had, you can't look 20 years out.
For sure.
You are in this moment. So when you're saving, it's a lot easier to conceptualize saving for a Beyonce ticket than 65 and when I'm going to retire. Like, it's just not realistic that
and
if
the way you,
in prison,
Rosalyn, the way you presented it at that conference to the group that was there was like, look, if we want to get everyone's attention, and if we want them to work with us on their financial literacy and their financial planning and all this kind of stuff, we need to stop talking to them about this imaginary day way out in the future. This was the simple but like blow my mind concept with what you said. And we need to then instead change our entire narrative to like what you're talking about. Like maybe it's a concert coming up. I mean, Chad, well, is there logic in this? I mean, could you see the industry promoting this more as opposed to Voya putting a 7-figure number on TV that you carry around with you? That's 1.7 million,
Two thoughts. The Gibazillion commercials from ING back in the day, which is not an Ackerson, Mark.
It fucking is.
It's hitting a specific target. It's not.
Wait, if JD says hit the button, I hit the button. I'm just doing what I told.
It is.
They're targeting folks that have a.
The N is for Netherlands. The N is for Netherlands. I can tell you that.
Okay. Yeah.
They're targeting people that have assets. It's a different story. Rosalyn, I absolutely love what you're saying and agree wholeheartedly that this is the way we need to communicate to, I'm going to say people my age and younger, 40 and younger. Like this is where we need to be having the conversation because it is hard to think about the future. Webby said in the chat bar, I started saving at 23 for my retirement. Well, Webby, you're in our space. And I need.
Maybe he wasn't when he was 23. Maybe he wasn't when he was 23, Chad, but I get your point.
I need this kind of shock back into it. We get so deep in our retirement acumen and the life that we live that we forget the average person we're talking to does not even like the term retirement. They don't. It's not something they can think about. So bringing it down to something that is more relevant is incredible. But the question that kept popping in my mind as you were talking, though, would be, do you still encourage them to use the 401k for that savings? Or is it, hey, you need that money sooner. You want to go to this concert, so do something different.
So in my opinion, saving is a muscle. It is just like all exercise.
Great answer.
So sometimes you actually have to get to the point where you can save and then it becomes easier to do. So, I mean, if you've ever, worked out, all of a sudden it becomes easier the more you do it. So to save for the Beyonce tickets, I did it. We went. I was in all my, sparkliness and,
Did you actually go? Are you just talking? Did you actually go to Beyonce concert?
I didn't, but if somebody wants to donate some tickets, somebody wants to do some client entertainment. So that puts you in a mindset of, I can do this. It becomes something that you can do and you can build up on, but it's working that actual muscle to get you to the point where this is not crazy. This is not absurd. Yeah. I mean, when you start talking about you need to save $1 million, hell, I might as well live today because $1 million isn't going to happen. Right. And so people are like,
you won't do shit, right?
Yeah, there's no need. If I said you need to lose 300 pounds, people are like, listen, I'm never going to lose 300 pounds.
Stop. Yeah, I get it.
let me
makes total
order
sense.
donuts. Like that's
And so what do we do as an industry rather than creating content like you're describing? We just say, don't worry about it. We'll auto enroll you. It'll be a
I think-
requirement moving forward, which is not a bad thing. But I do feel like we have to change the way in which we pitch what people need to be doing so that they can exercise this muscle and see benefit out of it.
but we're not really creating content that people can relate to. I mean,
Yeah,
I tell
you're
stories.
absolutely right.
I always say, you know, I have enough mess within my family that I can give you like a story about any product that you're trying to sell. I think I shared at that conference, the Sway conference. So check out Sherry Fitz there. But I shared a story about my sister. And my sister was 39 years old.
You're not going to share this story again, are you? I'm going to go ahead.
You're gonna cry. Okay. So I shared a story about something that happened to her.
No, Rosalyn, share it. I'm not.
I'm like, I don't, but
If you were going to share it, please share it. I wasn't trying to stop you.
because so I have a community for Black women, and we are all on our journey towards financial independence. And most of us are like, save money, you know, can we make more money? All this kind of stuff. But one thing that a lot of people forget is the estate planning side, because we're young, like what's going to happen? You know, we got plenty of time. We know grandma lived to be 80, 90, whatever. And so my sister was 39 years old, 4 children. She had a massive stroke in the bathroom of her job at 39 years old. This was January of 2020. My sister still does not walk, still does not work. I can understand what she's saying, but she is not really functional in the way that she was at 39. And so I remember being like, all this, you know, when you turn 40, like, what are we going to do? Like all these milestone type things. And so I remember having a conversation with the ladies about what if you don't die? Because oftentimes we're like, great, get life insurance, write a will, but what if you don't die? And so for my sister, she unfortunately was on her 3rd marriage. So she had children from a marriage, children from a marriage, children from a marriage. And I remember my niece's father was in the military station in Korea, and I'm literally messaging him, asking him to sign documentation so I can take care of my nieces, because my sister stayed in the hospital for 9 months.
You're just trying to take care of the kids. You're just trying to.
And so we are
take care of
trying
the
to
kids,
step
yeah.
in, because that documentation didn't actually exist. She was on her 3rd marriage to a man that she had married for less than, probably, I think at that point in time, they had been married about 6 or 7 months. And so by default, he is her next of kin, which means he can sell her property, he can liquidate accounts,
Right.
like all of these things, the what if you don't die. And I chose to phrase it in that manner because a lot of times we think about if I die, but what if you don't die? And the default is your brother that you don't get along with, or your mom, or your spouse that you're actually not living with or don't like anymore. And you all are thinking about a divorce, but it didn't actually happen. What if you don't die? Have you thought about and spelled out what happens? Because what if you get better and all of a sudden, everything that you worked for, you can't recover from? And it was all legal.
And it's not just about you, it's about your children too.
Yeah.
Like anyone who's a parent out there knows, like, you care less about your own situation and more about the situation of your kids. And so if you don't plan well and then they're screwed in some way, because that's heavy shit. Rosalyn, Ed commented like 5 minutes ago that you were the best guest we've ever had. And I don't know if you know Ed even. I mean,
I don't, but
yeah.
I love you, Ed.
And Ed has been to lots of these shows. I'm going to back him up and say you've been intelligent, charismatic. You kind of just diving right in with us. Like, you're phenomenal. And then you go and share this fucking heart-wrenching story. And I hate you for that shit, but that's good. So anyways, you're crushing it. We're not done yet. And I'm not just trying to be nice to you. Like, you literally are killing it. So thank you for bringing your shit to our show tonight and working with us on this. It's awesome. I think the takeaway there, and who am I to give Rosalyn's takeaway here, but is that as an industry, of course, we've been focusing on this date out in the future, and we should learn from Rosalyn a little bit. and start to change our message, our narrative, our talk, and try to help people with stuff that's more right in front of them.
Relevant.
Yeah, well, sure, relevant and more interesting to them, more, like things that they would actually pay attention to versus like way out in the future. And so, Rosalyn, when you stood up and you said that in that room, I obviously it's not a crazy complicated concept, but the way you put it out there made me, someone who lives, breathes, and sleeps this industry, stop and pause. And I was like, wait a second, fuck, the way that she kind of said that, like, I agree with her. Like, why aren't we doing that? So let's see if we can give more fuel to your fire, and maybe our industry can start to do a little more of that. And the people that are listening, that are here tonight live, or that are listening out on YouTube or in the future, everyone can do their own part, right? To start to kind of change the way we execute this thing called financial planning and wealth management. And Rosalyn, I appreciate you sharing that. But what you might want to do, probably not, I'm just kidding when I say this, but what you might want to do is tell the people to pay attention to Robe Guy when it comes to investing. Because
we can't transition from that.
Yes,
to
we can.
Transition.
Oh, time out.
What they want.
Time out. Hold
Go
on.
ahead. Time it out, Roby.
What we never do very well, shame on us, is, again, Rosalyn, everything that JD said, obviously we echo all of that. But more to the point of shameless plugging yourself is, where can people find you? Because I think the chat bar is going to want to follow along. I heard Justin mention something about YouTube. Like, what are you doing content wise? If you don't have a podcast, I'm just saying, like, Rosalyn and the Robe might be a good concept for a podcast. We could just like spitball that later. So plug yourself.
Few different places. So of course you can look me up on LinkedIn, Rosalyn Brown, super simple there. My YouTube channel. So I created a community for Black women on their financial independence journey. We talk about financial independence in a way that looks more unique for us. It is not the boring retirement journey. So it's a lot of different stories. Some of them are
not just four white dudes drinking beers. No, that's not what it is.
We don't drink beers, but we have talked about people transitioning careers, even in different industries. I'll leave it at that. And that's called Your Wealth Guidance. And so that might be, leaving the United States. It might be, I know people who are doing Airbnb in Senegal, people who are moving to Mexico, people who are doing all kind of different things. So that's the Your Wealth Guidance. And then, of course, you can always find me through Whippin'. So I'm
not gonna penalize you for that now.
And I'm
spice, pumpkin spice. I'll drink for that. Oh, wait, she's got
my little whipping cup.
That's her water.
So be sure, to check us out on the website. WIPN.org. Because
can she spell it out like that? Or do I have to drink for that too?
And she can't.
You gotta go. That's the third one.
I'm just gonna keep telling you to drink, JD.
God damn.
I'll help you, JD. I'll take one.
Yeah.
What is that, Chad?
I think we'll talk a little bit of the We Inspire and Promote Network in a quick little after show, maybe.
Fancy.
But yes, Mark, thanks for giving our guests a chance to promote themselves. I appreciate that. But I'm here to promote Robe Guy because, Rosalyn, you don't know this. You look at him in that silly robe and that backwards hat, and you think, what the fuck does he know? The guy...
Nothing.
The guy, he was born, he came out of the womb uttering ticker symbols of stocks that people should buy. He literally wakes up in the middle of the night and his wife is like, Roby, what are you saying? And he's just spitting out tickers of new stocks that people should buy. This guy knows how the market works. He sees into the future. He's a goddamn savant. Brandon, play the video. Yeah, he told you buy Netflix when it was $199, it's $384 now. He told you buy Apple at $142, it's $173. He told you buy Twitter before, right when Elon bought it. We all know how that turned out. That was a 24% gain for everybody. Home Depot, he said buy, that's up. Peloton, he said sell, that's down big, by the way. Laird said sell, that's been cut in half. Birdie said sell, that's been cut in a third. I mean, bro, guy, you're a fucking freak show. Has he gotten a few wrong? He said Budweiser and it's flat. You know, he said buy Budweiser in the middle of all the drama. We know the drama. He said, look, we're going to go back to drinking Budweiser. Don't worry about it. It's been flat. I think the jury's still out on that one. He told you to buy NVIDIA when it was like 355 and had been on a tear, and everyone was like, what? This guy's crazy. The stock's been like tripling, quadrupling, whatever. And he's like, buy it. It's at 410 now. He missed out on Levi. I don't want to give all the good news. Levi Strauss, he's at 15. He wanted you to buy it. It's down to 1282, but you know, he can't. What, Roby? Did I get that wrong?
I for sure did not say buy that one.
Oh, fuck. So you got that right too. And
no.
Disney, he did
well,
say.
I shouldn't say that. Go back to the tapes. If I was really
someone check the tapes.
Inebriated.
Oh, Tony says Disney was a sell. So you crushed Disney Levi too.
Levi.
Sorry, Levi was a sell. And then Disney at 90, you said it's crack for kids in a good way. and we should buy it. And it from 90, it's now 82. But hey, I don't have to do all the math.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah.
I don't have to do all the math for everybody. The kid's been fucking on fire, is what I'm trying to say. The kid's been on fire. All right, I got a new stock for you, Roby. The ticker is DASH, and I'll drink for that. And it trades on the New York Stock Exchange.
What is that?
It's got a current price of 75.61. It actually had a 4% drop today. Yes, Sherry Fitz, you're on the right track. Or you're not on the right track. You're on the actual track. It had a high of 90 at the end of July this year. It's currently at, again, 75.61. It traded in the 50s throughout 2022. It had, it had revenue in 2019 of just under $1 billion. When did COVID happen? 2020, right? And it was over 3 billion. Surely that was fuel to the fire. 2021, it was just under 5 billion. In 2022, it was $6.6 billion in revenue. My son started jumping on an app and ordering food, and I thought it was embarrassing that he was asking someone else in their Toyota Corolla with rust around the wheels to drive down to the local taco shop and bring him a burrito supreme or whatever it was. I was like, this does not feel right to me. Like, I don't like this. This cannot make economical sense. And now I use that shit like it's going fucking away. I'm obsessed with it. I'm working on my keyboard and I'm like, DoorDash that shit, bring it to me. I got important work to do, man. Like, I love this thing. And then I tip like a goddamn beast mode for those people because I'm so embarrassed that someone's bringing me food. But sorry, I'm getting a little wasted, people. DoorDash is the stock. Roby, take it away. What do we do here? What do we do?
So, I mean, this is one where you have to you got to think about it bigger picture, right? Because I agree. The first off, the concept is phenomenal, right? The fact that you could be on feeling like garbage, whether that be ill, like actually sick, or maybe you just drank too much the night before, and somebody will literally bring you, like Taco Bell. I mean, it's great. That's such a great concept. Now, what I don't like is that, I've used it before, and I'll go on there and go to order a couple of things, and then it's like, oh yeah, service charge, this charge, that charge. Now it's like $30 more than I could just go down the street and pick it up, right? Like it's on like, it feels
Excuse
like
me, Roby. Excuse me.
stupid.
Brandon, can you take that chart to like a 5-year or a 1-year? Go on. Sorry.
So I first off, Sherry, I'm not stalling. I like to give a little insight. Usually I just go for it. But I think that at the end of the day, right, I'm all about safety. And who am I thinking about right now? Oh, you just said it, JD. I'm thinking about your son. He goes out to the Miami bars. He's having a great time. He gets home probably through an Uber, hopefully, right? He's safe. Nobody wants anybody on the road or out there finding food at that time of night who shouldn't be. So what's the best option? Have somebody who's in a state of mind to be able to do that in a safe way and bring you that food. I'll raise my hand. Have I ordered a food in that state? Yeah. Have I woken up the next day and ate none of it? Yeah. It happens to the best of us. So here's my long-winded answer is you buy the shit out of this stock. This is a great buy. I can see by the chart Brandon showing it's down right now. It's at a low. Buy low, sell high, get in there, buy it now. It's football season, people. Everybody's sitting in their underwear on their couch doing nothing but watching football and drinking beer. And they're like, oh, I forgot to unthaw the chicken wings in my freezer. Boom, Buffalo Wild Wings is there on your doorstep in 15 minutes to an hour and a half. It depends. So buy it.
All right. DoorDash, it's a buy. Post-COVID, Roby thinks this trend continues, and we keep having people deliver stuff to our homes. By the way, I had all my booze DoorDashed to me before the show.
Okay, so that's the other thing I was going to mention. Thank you for remembering. When you think of someone bringing something to you, I don't say, oh, I should have that Uber Eats to me. Oh, I should have that something. I'm like the name. You
like the name.
The name, yeah. It has more recognition.
Can I back you up, Roby? Can I back you up?
Yeah.
You guys all know I used to drizzly alcohol. And now, since I DoorDash all the time, and someone mentioned in the chat bar, we DoorDash our chat bar champions. I've realized, I can DoorDash alcohol to my house. So I do that. And I did that before the show. So anyways, well done. Yes.
A quick story to know why a group like DoorDash can be more profitable on smaller margin too, is that folks like Mark will order 17 Mexican pizzas and 37 tacos when there's only 4 people in the house. So there's a
What's
big
your point,
overcharge
Chad?
on that for quantity.
What was that, Bill?
Oh my God.
When it's on the company card, what do I care?
Justin, it was like a first time sign up, get $15 free if you spend $100. And I'm pretty sure Mark hit $100 at Taco Bell for my wife, his wife, and the 2 of us.
Chad, I ordered Domino's from your hot tub. Okay. Don't ever count me out. All right.
I know it.
Can you imagine if we could actually audit the financials of the Chat Bar Champion prizes? Like we should.
JD, guess what? You're talking about a pooled employer plan not having checks and balances. You're the one who audits that.
I'm just telling you, we spent a lot of money on that shit. All right, Rosalyn. I started pre-drinking before this show. So I had a Budweiser, then I had a White Claw, and then I had an old fashioned. Now I've been drinking some more Budweisers. I ran out of my old fashioned. I've been having Casamigos tequila. But my point is, I don't remember who won Chat Bar Champion last time we had the show. So I apologize to that person. We'll figure it out.
We weren't here. Justin, who won?
I don't remember either.
Someone go find out, and we'll give them their proper. I hope it was Hackler. If it was Hackler, I'm like, fuck him. He's family. Who cares?
Kush. Oh, it's Kush.
Hey, it's Kush on the big TV again.
Oh,
well, I'm sick of me already. I got Kush lash.
Kush. Actually, that's perfect. We'll deliver Kush his Chat Bar Champion prize at Wealth at Work, because he'll be there.
Oh, nice.
In Washington of the District of Columbia.
Is he gonna be on the show?
I don't know. Maybe he talked about it. I don't know. Kush, is he here? He's here, right?
He's here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
anyways, every other week, Rosalyn, we actually, if I want to
Every
be
first and third
specific,
week.
it's the first and third Thursday of every month. We choose a Chap Our Champion. It's just someone in the audience that you liked or didn't like, or just want to vote for, or whatever you want to do, you do you. Who is your vote for Chap Our Champion?
So this is pretty easy. This is actually the person who introduced me to We Inspire Promote Network. It's Daniela.
Oh my God. She shouldn't be getting
I think you
votes
said her last
for
name wrong.
friendship. Her last name, hey, Rosalind, her last name is actually pronounced. That's how you pronounce it. Justin, your vote for Chap Our Champion.
Hackler.
The Hackster.
Yeah, that zinger.
Okay. Roby?
Dang it. It's not here anymore. I wanted to vote for Dude because I just wanted them
he
to
bailed?
unveil. I wanted
Damn.
them to unveil themselves.
Dude bailed.
I can't help but think of
dude.
that movie
We
with
went
Ryan
long.
Reynolds.
We went long. We're going long.
I know it's my fault. You know what? I'm just gonna piggyback here off Rosalyn. Daniela is fantastic.
Daniela and Hack. Chad?
I already wrote it in the chat bar earlier. Hack's singular comment on JD's setting up another apology was enough for me. It had me laugh out loud. Man.
Okay. I'm not gonna fuck with that. Let's go head to head. Shall we? Roby,
Oh no. Oh, no.
you know the drill. Everybody out there, you know the drill. We got Hackler, we got Daniela. By the way, those are two titans of the
Yeah.
chat.
Those are original gangsters right there.
So Daniela and Hackler, like, take your time. Don't feel like pressured, but I mean, if you're prompt, that might give you a little more points. I mean, I don't know. It all depends on the judges. So you need to finish Roby's sentence. You know how this works, and you will get the big prizes. And I want to put this out there right now. When I say big prizes, I'm claiming this head to head because it's two champs, like it's two goats, and I'll drink for that. Like, this is going to be a big prize. Like, this is going to be like big prize. I'm reaching into the Amex and throwing down some shit on this. This is going to be big time. Okay. So
Bring it.
So
Bring
let's
it
go.
home, Daniela.
Mark, let's go.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Think of your football, Mark.
Struggling
Don't
with
flex
ideas.
them, Daniela.
What?
Stretch them.
Oh gosh. Okay. I need some help here, boys. I'm struggling.
No, you don't need help, Roby.
Yeah, I might have to phone a friend on this.
Give them a would you rather, Mark. You always come up with good would you rathers.
Yeah. Okay. No, because I'm giving him the answers for that. Okay.
Mark, Roby, we've had a great
Yeah.
show.
I know.
Rosalyn's been a
I'm
phenomenal
ruining
guest,
it. I'm ruining
and now
it. I
you're
know.
fucking ending it in a shitty way. Like,
No.
Can you
Okay.
pro up? Can you be a professional?
Yeah.
Do your
I
shit.
gotcha. Okay. If you could visit, no, not going there. Okay. How about this? I'll make it simple. What would you order, JD, from Taco Bell right now?
Okay. Took you a long time to get to that,
I
but
know.
that's okay. That's not bad. Tony says kind of lame, but you know,
Very lame.
yeah. Roby, stay sharp.
Yeah.
Okay. We're professionals at this. Mike,
Brandon wins.
what did Brandon say? Resume. That's solid. That is solid. Oh wait, Daniela's in
That is pretty good.
with
Yeah,
a
I like
butt
hers.
flaming gordito.
Tito.
All right, Rosalyn, you're gonna want to vote on this.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Rosalyn, who's the winner? A butt flaming gordito or diabetes?
You know, the flaming gordita, and I will say, because if you haven't watched the history of flaming hot Cheetos, I think it's on Netflix. Check it out. I love that guy.
I've heard.
And how he was able to just take his career and move past middle management when they didn't want to give him the opportunity. He actually made the recipe with his kids and his wife in the kitchen.
Do you think that's what
That's really
Daniela is referring to?
Yes, of course. In
Okay.
honor of Mr. Guy, and he's still married to his wife and everything, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Yes. I love him. I love
believe-
her.
yep.
I love that answer.
Daniela, were you referring to this concept? Because I want to overrule this. No, we're all taking it. I've never done this, Rosalyn. I respect you. I'm very thankful that you came on the show. And I've never done this. I'm overruling your decision. I'm giving it to diabetes. Fucking
Cue next
diabetes
week's
was the best
apology.
answer.
Diabetes.
Rosalind,
Well, for everybody.
Chad, you're
in
amazing.
that total disrespect to you that I just did, I'm going to flip it now and say thank you so much for spending Thursday night with us. And for, as Ed put it, and we kind of backed it up, we don't say this to our guests, being the best guest ever on Retireholics. And we've been doing this shit for 8 years or something. So thank you so much for being our special guest. And for now, you are ever in the Retireholics community. Okay. You're part of our family. I know you got lots of those. And then to you, Chad, can you figure out how to get power to your fucking house so you can be on the show?
Hey,
That would be helpful.
My in-laws just brought
Chad?
over about 150
No
pounds
one
of
wants to hear
meat.
your fucking excuse.
So
You
I'm hoping the
Midwest-
power's back on
you
there.
Midwest
Is it the whole
motherfucker.
block or just your house?
It's everywhere. The field at the school was out.
Sounds
Scoreboards
like
were
you
out.
guys need solar power there, man.
Justin,
Won't ever happen.
I love you. Thanks for being here.
I didn't do anything. but you are.
I always approve of the color of your shirt choice.
You too.
Yes. And Roby, you're on thin ice. Like, your job is to be like the charismatic one, the one who's ready with the funny shit, like that's why you're here. And so when we get to the end of a phenomenal show, and then
Yeah.
we're waiting to put the explanation point. Why is that hard to say?
That was a tough one for you. Yeah.
I can't say it when I'm trying. You need to come through, bro.
I know.
Bro.
I screwed. I admit when I'm wrong, man. I screwed up. I'm sorry. I'll do better. I'll do better.
Maybe, and only if Rosalyn will stick around for a quick 5-7 minutes or something, an after show. But thank you everybody for tuning in Retireholics. We'll see you in 2 weeks with another guest that I can't remember right now. So it's somebody, but they're coming. I don't fucking remember. And yes, Devin, the Giants do suck. And thanks everybody.
Thank you, Rosalind.
Thank you, Rosalind.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in. Brandon, play
I'm
some
going to get a
music.
beer. I'll be back.
I gotta go to soccer practice.
I got to roll.
Bye,
See
Mark.
you later.
Bye bye.
What is Brandon playing? Yeah, Ed. Oh, wow. Okay. He's a pirate as a lead singer.